10:30 on the dot. I'll call the meeting to order. Start with adoption of the public agenda. That the agenda for June 29th, 2022 regular meeting of the First Nations Relations Committee be adopted as presented.
I'll move adoption. Director Moglove.
Thank you. I got Director Abram and Director Moglove. Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, carried. Petitions and delegations, none. Adoption of previous meeting minutes.
Move adoption. Moglove.
Thank you, Director Moglove.
Second, Abram.
Second by Director Abram. Discussion? Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. Thank you. Chair's report. I do not have a report at the moment. So that moves us on to our staff reports, which is number one, the Ho-Chukwu Tribe Government Economic Strategy. Do we have a motion to accept?
I'll move receipt. Moglove.
On receipt.
Fowler.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Fowler. Thank you, Director Moglove. Discussion. Hearing none, carried.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yes.
in the report, a reference is made, and I'll just pull this up on the screen so that we can all have a look at it. This was the result of correspondence that was received at the May 25th meeting, and there was a motion put forward which was deferred. And so the committee can, if it wishes, pick that up and have further discussion on it, or do with it as it wishes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, thank you. So what were those two options again? Sorry.
Mr. Chairman, if you can see on the screen, there was a motion put forward at the May 25th meeting, which never was voted on. It was deferred to come back to this meeting, and so so we have put this back on the agenda for the committee's consideration. And
Okay.
Having done that, the committee can do with it as it wishes.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Director Abram, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, I think rather than just let it hang there in limbo, that maybe a short motion that just went, I'm not sure where it would go, whether it would go back to iced tea or back to the Uchuk to just say that we do not favor the bottling of water or bulk water extraction, period. Just leave it at that. But that we have, you know, if we already have the previous motion that we supported the strategy in general. So this would be shortened version, simplified about one point in the economic strategy. So I'd move that.
So Mr. Chairman, just for clarity, this motion has been made. It is a legitimate motion. It just has never been voted on by the committee. So if you wish, you can now vote on it or further discuss it or amend it or whatever you wish as a committee to do. Okay,
well then I'd move the motion as it's stated on the page in front of you for Edie's ratification.
Sorry, Director Abram, I missed that last part.
Yeah, just I would move the motion as it's written on the page, and Edie can just put it up as my motion.
Okay, thank you.
If
So we have We have a mover. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second.
Thank you. Who was that?
Director Fowler, alternate Director Fowler.
Thank you, thank you. Um, okay, thank you. Any discussion? Any opposed?
Moglove, I'm
Motion
opposed.
Oh, Moglov's opposed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Director Kerr opposed.
Director Kerr. That's 2 opposed so far. All right. Motion carried. All right. Thank you. Thank you. That moves us on to item number 2, the First Nations territorial acknowledgements. Motion to receive.
Move receipt, Abram.
Thank you, Director
Second,
Abram.
Moglove.
Thank you, Director Moglov.
And Mr. Chair, Renee will speak to this.
Okay. Thank you.
Good afternoon, directors. As a commitment to reconciliation, the SRD board approved a territorial acknowledgement earlier this year. The board and staff have been opening meetings and public events with the approved territorial acknowledgement. We could expand the use of the territorial acknowledgement into other day-to-day business of the SRD and formal documents such as business cards, letterhead, e-signatures, and online use. The current policy was established to use the acknowledgement at meetings, and we're looking for direction to determine if there's interest in expanding this policy to include the recognition and use of the territorial acknowledgement in other official documents and written material.
All right. All right. Thank you. I see we have 2 options available. There's option A, that the committee recommend that the regional district investigate the use of First Nations territorial acknowledgements on official forms and other documents. Or option B, that the committee recommend that the regional district not investigate the use of First Nation territorial acknowledgements on official forms and other documents at this time.
I think we need to vote on the receipt first before someone makes a motion for option A or B. But I just had a question on it, if I might. This is Director Moglove.
Okay.
So, I favor option A. I think we should at least investigate and see what it would look like. I guess my concern would be because the Strathcona Regional District is so diverse in its First Nations and the various statuses of the various First Nations, it might be quite difficult to come up with something that would fit on documents and or letters, etc. But I'll leave that to staff if option A is pursued. But I sort of see that as a bit of a problem, how you would unite everything in one statement. But again, I'll leave that to staff if option A gets approved.
Thank you. Thank you. So we need a motion on receipt.
I think we did that, but I think we just need to vote. That's my
Oh,
recollection.
okay.
No
Okay.
worries.
Thank you, sir. Yes. 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 Is any opposed? All right. Motion carried. Thank you. So we have the 2 options available.
Yeah, Moglove, I'll move option A, that we investigate the use of First Nations territorial acknowledgements on official forms and other documents.
Thank you,
Second.
Director Moglov.
Second.
Thank you.
Alternate Director Fowler.
Thank you, Director Fowler. So any discussion?
I've got my hand up.
Oh, yes. I wasn't sure if that was up from previous or not. I
No.
was just about to ask. Thank you, Director Abram. Yes, go ahead.
It's a new hand. Thanks, Kevin. I don't have any problem with acknowledging, investigating was the word I was looking for. But I do agree totally with what Director Moglove had. It was first thing that came to mind for me, that basically depending on what area you're in, your acknowledgement is most likely different than somebody else's acknowledgement. So, you know, we're going to have a paragraph at the end of a letterhead page. And I barely have room on my business card right now for just the information that, you know, is absolutely essential on a business card with the logo and all of that sort of thing. So I find it very problematic, possibly. And if you want to investigate it, fine. But I think that if it's incorrect, I guess would be my worry. Not incorrect by, you know, lack of understanding or whatever, but just we miss someone, we miss something, and we put it on there on, say, on our main letterhead regional district pages or on our electoral area pages. It's not going to be pertinent to some, pertinent to others, and if we miss people, it's going to be possibly a bit of a slight. So I'd worry about that part of it. You know, like I'd hate to have on my business card that it's this group, but not that group. And actually that group is in my group. So, and there's quite a few in the area that I represent. So anyway, if you want to, somebody wants to move A and investigate, fine, but I would hope it would come back with a really thorough look at that particular thought process.
Mr. Chair, it's already been moved and seconded.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
sorry.
yes. Option A has been moved and seconded. We are in discussion, and I fully understand you, Director Abram. I think it does need to be looked into thoroughly, and just to make sure that we get it right, if need be, that we do move ahead with this. And yes, thank you. I got Director Moglov next.
Yeah, I think Jim and Mr. Chair, you said what I was going to say. I have a lot of faith in Tina to come up with something that will work, and I'm looking forward to the report and what it might look like. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Any more discussion?
I just have a question, if someone could inform me since
Yep.
I'm new. How many First Nations are in the regional district? Thanks.
There are 10 different First Nations.
Thank you. All right, any more discussion? Alrighty, hearing none. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried for option A. Thank you. That moves us on to item number 3, which is the Clahoose First Nations treaty process. And yes, Director Abram.
Well, I'll move the motion first, but I do want to say something to it.
Okay, motion on receipt, moved by Director Abram.
Second.
Do I have it? Thank you. Seconded. Any discussion?
So, Mr. Chair, if I may, just to start with, this was a motion that the First Nations Relations Committee directed staff to come up with a letter. We have taken the conversation that happened at First Nation and have done our best to summarize that in a draft letter, and happy to receive any comments. We'll say just we made one little recommendation, if you will, is that it's not typical to address these letters to staff, and we're just trying to make the committee aware of that maybe the address of the letter, the motion said a couple people individually that are staff members. The committee may want to reconsider that and look to address the letter to the minister, but I'll leave that up to the committee for discussion.
Okay, thank you. Director Abram.
Yes, thank you. And Dave pretty much covered what I have to say. I think that it's very simple to make this still work. And that's just take the people that it's copied to, starting with the Minister for Indigenous Relations, Premier, et cetera. And I think our minister also for municipal affairs addressed the letter to them and CC it to Jessica Jameson, Mark Price. So they will definitely get a copy of it and know that we have contacted their bosses. I think that's the way to go. And if the committee is willing to do that, then that's the way we should go.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Director Abram. Director Moglove.
Thanks. And my audio was in and out. I missed. So my understanding is what the suggestion is that the letter be sent to ministers and not to direct staff. But I didn't hear exactly what Jim said, which ministers. Obviously, Minister Rankin, but I would think it would also should be sent to Minister Cullen, Minister of Municipal Affairs, because I think the whole concept of consultation with local government would be on his desk as well, and then he would then be aware of the concerns of local government. So I missed exactly from what Jim suggested where the letter should go to. So
That's what I said, Claire.
Okay.
Exactly what you just said.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Sorry about that.
All right.
All right, thank you, thank you. Any more discussion?
I guess just, if I can, Mr. Chair, from staff, content to the letter, any comment, feedback on that? Just, did we characterize the committee's opinion properly, or is there any comment on the content?
Yes, Director Abram.
Yes, in answer to the CAO, I'd say we caught you on a good day, Dave, to write a somewhat snarky letter. Sorry, I don't mean that in any derogatory way, but it's a very good our concerns at the committee and as each individual local government representative that, hey, once again, we're being left out when we've been told over and over and over again that we're not going to be left out. Well, thank you, Dave.
Director Moglove.
Thanks. It is a very strongly worded letter, and oftentimes I prefer not to be quite as strong. However, this issue has been ongoing for many years. And I remember a presentation we had from the Ministry of Indigenous Affairs about, I'm not sure when it was, 2 years ago, saying it was a new era. It was a new, we're going forward, and from now on, don't you worry, we'll be consulting with you. This is our mandate. I hope others on this committee remember that it wasn't that long ago. And here we are back to the same old. And so I think in this particular case, I agree that the wording is strong, but I think it has to be.
So I think if I can take some liberty, Mr. Chair, it seems the committee's happy with the letter and we have some consensus on who to direct it to. What we can do before it goes to the board is we can redirect the letter to Minister Rankin and then CC Minister Cullen and the Premier and the Chief on there. The committee's happy with that.
Yes, I am. Moglove.
And are you also suggesting that the 2 staff members be CC?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good.
So, Mr. Chairman, just for clarity, you're still
Yeah.
on the discussion on receipt of the staff report, which you might
Yes.
want to take care of before any direction, if you will, on the specific letter.
All right, thank you, thank you. Any more discussion? I'm hearing none. Any opposed? Hearing none, carried. So that
I'd
moves
like to-
us.
Do
I'd like
we
to-
need a subsequent on direction to staff to make those small changes that we just talked about?
Thank you, Director Moglove. Do I have? Do I need a seconder?
I'll move
Second.
that the letter as presented be forwarded to Minister, who is it? What's his name? Rankin, with CC to Minister Cullen and the Premier and to the 2 staff members identified.
Second.
Thank you,
Abram.
Director Abram. Thank you. Discussion?
Just checking with staff, does that cover the changes that have been suggested?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Any opposed? Hear none, motion carried. Thank you. Alrighty, that moves us on to correspondence, which is our Indigenous Tourism Guide.
Move receipt. Abram.
Thank you. Thank you. Do I have a
Second,
seconder?
Moglove.
Thank you, Director Moglove. Discussion? Any opposed? Hear none, carried.
And I have
Who
a
who will be
subject.
speaking to this?
Abram.
Okay, yep, go ahead.
Okay, sorry, I didn't get my hand up in time, but there really isn't any sort of action item requested, I don't think. But I think that it's very well laid out and nicely presented tourism guide. And I think that, like we have been doing, like with a lot of other things lately, because of our expansion and sort of improvement of our website, that this could be simply added to our website under some sort of First Nations heading, First Nations economic development, or even just under our economic development heading. But I would move that it be added to our website.
All right, thank you, thank you. So we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a seconder?
Moglove, I'll second that.
Thank you, Director Moglove. That opens it up for discussion. Hearing no discussion. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Motion's carried. Thank you, Director Abram.
You're welcome.
Director's reports, new business, no. Closed session, no. So that moves us to termination. This was fast. Thank you, Director Abram.
Second, Moglove.
Thank you, Director Moglove. All right. Thank you, guys. Wow, this was fast.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
We'll see
Thank you.
See you
And
Friday.
see you
See
guys
you at
in.
12:30.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Awesome.
Bye now.
Chew.
Thank you, Kevin. Bye now. Bye, everyone.